around the world have their hierarchy to the progression of society, and this is the way it's always been since we ever existed. Humans ever existed on this earth to naturally progress as naturally as possible. Is the best way to describe it in a Freemasonry sort of way. Natural fate, natural progression, and so forth. Now, presidents and civilians have illegally chipped people, and they want to instill fear into the public, playing the Red Scare communism, meaning presidents George W. Bush or Barack Obama have illegally chipped people. They wanted you to think it was good, but it's bad, because they're controlling your health and trying to profit off of your sickness. Excuse me. Government does not do such things. I know this for a fact because people don't understand. Government has no reason for ulterior motives. Okay, why would the government create its own work for itself? For example, why would they conspire against its own people? Why would they want to prey upon people, children, or create terrorism or anything else to create work for themselves as a federal government? There's no reason for it. So as I said, you didn't want presidents to chip you. It was illegally done. They wanted to use their insurance scam to profit off of malpractices like they have with me, my children, and so forth. They like to prey upon people, which is not something government does. They don't abuse people with religion and the Constitution, such as what they've done to me and my children, using me and my children as their e.g. example for their ulterior motives to Freemasonry. Now, as I said, Freemasonry is about the natural progression of society. That is a fact. It's natural progression of society where they don't believe in messing with people's fates, their lives, their children. They want everything to progress naturally to advance civilization in a slow, natural way. Okay? Now, these people have gone and made a mess. They like to mess with people's fates and want to make people afraid of government or any government, which is false. You shouldn't be afraid of government. Government has no reason to have ulterior motives unto you. It's the politicians you have to worry about. Okay? That's a fact. Now, as people know that there are different devices out there in which you would have, per se, the human internet, which I will say, by my opinion, that I am not the only person on the human internet, in which can be turned on or off at any given time, given by the controls of the person who's controlling the internet, human internet. Now, when people know my thoughts, as I said, there are more than me on the human internet, and that's my opinion. And from what I know, as far as legalities are concerned, I'm just stating things as best as I know how, in my perception, that they wanted to use the dark side of the moon to plot against me and my children, for example. But as everybody knows who understands government, which George W. Bush and Barack Obama do not understand government. They always think you gotta have an ulterior motive. You always have to have an ulterior motive. There is no ulterior motive, and I would swear to that in a court of law that there is no ulterior motive of the federal government unto the peoples of this country of the United States of America. So, there's no reason for it. Why would the federal government have ulterior motives? They want to make us as free, have us be as free as possible. They want us to thrive and learn and progress society at a natural rate as we are supposed to do, as the way history has shown. From the beginning of time, civilization has naturally progressed. And the continuation of that effort, they don't want anybody getting in the way of that, such as these presidents have done. Okay? They're tampering and tinkering with the natural process of civilization, which is taboo for Freemasonry. Freemasonry is about everything in existence, naturally, and these people wanted to vandalize and confuse people and perhaps misguide the people of the United States or other countries into thinking that governments always have an ulterior motive. Well, governments don't have an ulterior motive. There's no reason for it. Right? There's no reason for governments to have an ulterior motives unto their people. In the United States, for example, we've never had a population problem. Never. And so if that were the case, they would just try to regulate population, such as China does, for example, or did at one time, limited to one girl or whatever they did to try to limit population. They wouldn't kill people. I mean, nations don't kill people to control population, is what I'm trying to say. They use other methods by the rules of hierarchies, okay? So, as I said, and we have never had a problem with population control. And so the evidences that are showing up with presidents, ulterior motives to this nation and the civilian peoples, between rock stars, civilians I went to school with, and presidents, is all of illegal nature, and to undermine the federal government, and to undermine society, and to undermine the world. So, as I said, you are misled, for sure. Okay, you are misled a great deal about government. Government has no reason, and you have to remember this. They wanted to, when George Bush or Barack Obama wanted to traffic me, to use me, to hold me hostage because I've been an exploited child, they wanted to instill fear, okay, into the public and make you think that you didn't have choices about your life and your rights and your freedoms, and that you have to be chipped by them, which is against federal laws. You do not have to be chipped by presidents or other civilians. It's against federal laws. It's against the Constitution, and it's against your American-born rights, and it's against worldwide laws, human rights laws. They have lied to you. Presidents, politicians have lied to you with civilians. I'm sure of that. They're going around chipping people. You don't want those chips. And for most of society, I believe it's kind of too late, because these people have been doing this for while I was sleeping. And there's a great deal of this already in people's bodies. So, and they're not the government. It's not the government doing it. It's politicians and civilians. Now, these people, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, have preyed upon me since I was 30 years old. I mean, for 30 years, excuse me. They have preyed upon me since I was 10 years old. For 30 years. Since I was 10 years old. Before they ever had political status, these people were plotting against me, which is illegal under political conspiracy laws and so forth. So, as I said, they're trying to steal my identity. They have erased documentation of my life, medical records, anything from medical records, to try to erase other documentation about my life, which they cannot do. And, because they conspired against my kids as well to hold me hostage here because they knew they could not do this past 7 years. They wanted to traffic me with seditious ways, knowing that they had infringed upon my rights to get medical care. Okay? They are guilty of seditious activities because they infringed upon my constitutional rights. Presidents of the United States take their oaths under the Constitution of the United States. So, everything they have done the past 7 years is illegal unto me and my children. The infringements are illegal. But if you look on the FBI websites and government websites, because they're separate, government doesn't want anything to do with these people, pretty much. If you look on the websites, you will see that I'm in a real duty. I'm trying to help the federal government unscramble crime scenes and so forth. Serial killers. These people are serial killers. What I'm seeing is people who abduct children, child crimes, links to terrorism, and any kind of trafficking, drug trafficking, and so forth. This is a worldwide dragnet going on, and that is what I will state going on with my life. While I'm in the middle of being victimized since I was 10 years old, I am helping the government, which is a very, very difficult situation because I'm a victim of being a trafficked child. But in the midst of being a trafficked child, I am helping the federal government with their worldwide dragnet in order to solve crimes, prevent terrorism, and prevent anything bad from happening, to solving crimes. That is my duty is. So, as I said, nobody can chip you. Do not let any civilian chip you. Do not conduct any sort of communications with individuals involved, from Shannon Hubert Bartusek to Kim Hedgeland Lassen to Barack Obama to George W. Bush to possible rock stars involved, Nick Hexum, to possible rock star Dave Grohl, to the Chase family, Robert Chase and such. My mother and my father, Larry and Marcia Eggers, which are not married, do not have legal rights to me. George Bush or Barack Obama used Shannon or Kim to talk to them to try to infringe upon my rights. They strong arm my family with trafficking money made from my life to try to buy out my life with the very trafficking money is of my life, which is hypocrisy. Can't do that. They couldn't have political conspiracy against me for 30 years and so forth. So, as I said, these people used my children. They waited till I had children because they knew they couldn't do this to me was illegal, right? They knew they couldn't do this to me because it was illegal They couldn't plot the murders of my children playing E equals MC squared with money is the root of all equal and A and W root beer. W